to episode 18 of Just Conversation, No Interviews. Quick topics for the day. We're going to talk about the boy from Uvalde Township in Michigan that was shot. His name was Kobe Daniel. I think he was shot in the arm. The guy was taken in for attempted murder, and they let him out on about $1,000 bail, which is kind of crazy. They said there's a couple attempted murders that happen in that state where they're getting pretty low bails. So keep your eyes out for that in Michigan. A Philadelphia officer was caught erasing footage from a car stop where a guy had his phone out and was telling the cop, "I'm gonna tape you," and the cop took his phone and they had a little scuffle. And after the scuffle, you can see the cop on his body cam actually going in the guy's phone trying to erase the footage.
They come out, get out.
Why you gotta get out, man?
I got you on camera. Go ahead, grab me again. Come on, you got me running again.
Hold on. You is in my phone? I picked the phone up off the ground. My video still in there? I don't know.
As of June 2nd, 2022, Nike has put in their trademark for the Air Jordan 1. So anyone trying to make a mock-up of the Jordan 1 will probably be hit with a hefty lawsuit. So anybody's doing these sneakers, if they're coming from Alibaba, you had that Jordan 1, you might want to call them and cancel that order. That's not going to happen. Though they have been trying with a couple companies as of recently, but to no avail. After June 2nd, no more of those. It's Nike's on your ass. Sports! Claressa Shields coming in, the 8-time female boxing champion in about 3 weight classes, which is amazing. She has decided to do MMA because, like Floyd Mayweather said, legacy doesn't feed the family. Miss Shields had her first bout in MMA this weekend where she beat the hell out of Brittany Hogan, Jesus, to a TKO. She's undefeated in boxing and MMA now. Well, let's hope that the purse is much better there. Can I say purse? I can say purse, right?
Good morning. This is Hoochie with Monday's weather. It's going to be a high of 84 with a low of 63 and a wind chill of 13. A wind chill? Shit. What's it called? A wind chill. Wind chill at 13. And it's going to be a little cloudy. I can't see. It's cloudy.
BlackRock is buying all the houses that they can right now, and a lot of groups with money are buying houses and they're pushing out the small guy. Some of these groups have funds that's funded by the middle class, so sometimes it's your own personal money, whether it be tax or 401k type money, and they are taking that money and buying up all the houses so that you cannot be a homeowner but a renter in one of their actual townships. So be careful on that. Buying a house is about to be a luxury and not your right. So if you can, somehow you can get it in this crazy market, you need to really try to focus on your home ownership, and if so, make a community with you and your friends that maybe, you might got a guy that's gonna die, you might got 10 houses, maybe you can get 2 of them off of them. Buying houses is gonna be like how people used to sell dinners back in the day. It's gonna be just word of mouth and going through, because once it gets to the big market, you can forget about it.
Being as though the company BlackRock is actually buying up a lot of the houses at a 20 to 25% rate, maybe it's time for us to buy into BlackRock, maybe. At $8.70 a share, may seem steep at first, but based on the way things are going, those numbers are gonna climb. So just something to think about. And as you can see here, this is the stock symbol for BlackRock. So you can do your own research, check it out, see what those guys are up to.
And lastly, the Federal Reserve are still pushing, per Governor Lael Brainerd, they're trying to bring out their own crypto, their own type of regulated crypto. So we will sit back and watch. And until then, folks, these are the short news bits for Just Conversations, No Interviews.
Action. Good day, folks. Welcome to episode 18 of Just Conversations, No Interviews. Remember to like,
Subscribe,
and share.
in that order.
And always, at the end of these shows, you can always go to our Facebook page at Just Conversations, No Interviews. You can see some of the articles that we got this information from, so you know that we're not making up anything, and anything we put up was actually things that we actually read and discussed. Also, continue to look on Instagram. We haven't put anything on TikTok yet, but the Instagram and
But we gonna be TikTok and pop locking it very, very soon.
Yeah, we wait for Miss O to come with this rap. She got this crazy freestyle that we keep
I do.
hearing
Y'all
about.
not ready yet, so I'm gonna just,
Freestyle Thursdays.
I'm gonna wait for
Freestyle
y'all to be
Thursdays.
ready.
It's Thirsty Thursdays. They ready?
I need them to be a little bit more punched. Next week I got you.
Uh-oh. Jesus Christ. Well,
In that order.
we got a very interesting week. We already discussed the current topics. But one thing I did notice this week in the final call, they were talking about extraterrestrials and how the U.S. has always had a relationship with extraterrestrials. So we're gonna let my main man Mike give y'all some knowledge on these extraterrestrials.
Well, I give you what I know or what I heard. So a few weeks ago, I was informed by somebody that's a little more well-read than I am on the topic, somebody I study under, and he gave me a heads up and said a lot of these things that we read on and we talked about, the government is going to have to release the truth of the matter about these unidentified objects, and they got a deadline to give it to us by June. So this is a few months back, I've been hearing about this, and here comes June. It's all over the regular news.
Really?
Not only is it a deadline by June, but it's part of the stimulus bill, the COVID bill. So at the same time, when they had to give us the stimulus package, this is part of the stimulus package. Part of the deal that was made for the stimulus package was for them to give us the information on the UFOs that they was holding back from us for all these years. So it's coming out now, and we only got tidbits of it, but I believe before June is out, we're gonna hear a whole lot more than what we probably prepared for, or they may just say, yeah, we seen them too. They may not give us a whole lot more than that, but
Wow.
it's a thing where we about to get into a whole lot of different belief systems being shooken and all of that, because you got people who always believed that it was extraterrestrials and things like that through their religious beliefs, and some people call them Bible bangers, religious fanatics, or either they'll call them conspiracy theorists. So this right here is going to define all of that this month. We're going to hear about a lot of these things. So, it's some life-shattering truths that's about to be spilled. So what y'all think about that?
My only thought process really honestly is tied to COVID, because I feel like with COVID, and it's more so forcing me to believe that this COVID was a design, you know what I mean? Because so many things have come about since that time frame, in regard to PPP, this tracking device, in regards to the vaccination, knowing who is vaccinated and tracking them, it's very robotic, like, you know what I mean? The things that we're going through, living in the times, being, virtual learning, like, what is that? What does that look like? All of these different things that we were forced to experience for the first time, were they systematic? I feel like it was
absolutely
very systematic.
There are gains on your direct person.
Exactly.
It's losses and for us, but gains for them.
Exactly.
on your direct person. I was told earlier today that even for you to collect unemployment, that you have to have a facial scan now.
Wow.
Where all you did was put your numbers in, your social security numbers and your 4-digit numbers and all of that, and then they want a facial scan. So if you think that this whole thing's a joke where Big Brother is watching and all of these things, I mean, our whole lifestyle has changed since COVID.
And then, what's crazy is that, you have, even with regardless of race, regardless of age, you have so many people that,
This is bigger than all of that.
That's what I'm saying. So you got all of these people that have done these things, trying to get over on the system or trying to beat the system, and it's like now, those people are the very people that are causing all these heightened levels of security or all these different things that they're putting in our environment to control us and to gain knowledge of what you're doing.
Right.
Now you want to get PPP, now we know your bank account.
I'm going to throw the problem out there so I can throw the solution out there.
Exactly.
But the solution is going to be in my benefit.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Wholeheartedly.
It's a game. But,
It's really a game.
Even the paper that he's holding right now, when I was coming up, man, my father used to read these and what is it called? The final calls. And they always had this type of information in the final calls. I mean, I don't know if anybody would not read them because they don't have an Islamic background. I don't have an Islamic background, but it was truth in this paper. So we picked it up and we read it. And so a lot of this knowledge about these UFOs, and even on down, we talking about some of these games that they have on your direct person, a lot of us looked at it as mark of the beast. So
the information has been out there.
It has been there.
I was even listening to Lauryn Hill's song, like the Unplugged. She talks about COVID. She said COVID in there. You know how that album was at least 10 years ago.
Almost 20. Yeah.
She talked about, like, it was different things that just popped up, and I'm like, that wasn't even a word before COVID. You know what I mean? It was like, she talked about the insurrection that happened at the White House just this year. I'm like, wait.
Absolutely. So what did you say to those people who you passed judgment on that they were hallucinating, it's crazy? What do you say about all these things?
I'm gonna show you what they say right here. It's the first thing they say in this paper with Elijah Muhammad. First word is vindicated. So whenever you say something, people try to play you and say you're crazy.
That's on my board right now.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And it takes time. It takes time for people to find out what actually was the truth. So you actually, when you're the person who's actually speaking the truth, you're usually the one that's being vindicated because everybody else tried to play you.
That's
So
right.
that's what you're going to see for a lot of those people. So whether you call Lauryn Hill crazy, I mean, Elijah Muhammad is dead. He cannot get his flowers right now for people to say, but I'm quite sure he knew what he was talking about. People that followed him knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So this is a $2 paper that was picked up the other day. And it's funny that for like $2, I love these types of information because you get way better information from something that's independent than if you're watching the normal 3, 6, 10, ABC, NBC, CBS. All those are commercial news. They have advertisers to answer to. They have all types of people to answer to. So it doesn't profit them to make the truth. It profits them to keep everybody dumb and sleep.
Yes.
So they can keep making this manufactured society. Absolutely.
And to tell us their whole game plan, and we're still, act like we out of the loop. They tell us, if you want to hide something, where to put it? In a book. So again, the information is there, but we have to be mindful enough and, knowledgeable enough to know that we need to seek out information, whether we believe it or not. Read 10 books before you, come up to your own personal solution. But you should definitely be informed of the information.
So, and besides this paper here, it's another book that's been out for years and years and years, and this paper used to give it its props. It's called Behold the Pale Horse, and Behold the Pale Horse is this book that came out in the 80s or the 70s. I mean, it's so old. It's even talking about what we're going through right now. So on down to them having to admit about the UFOs and everything, they talking about it in Behold the Pale Horse. So, go ahead.
I'm just got a question. I mean, I remember Reef once said something to me a long time ago, and what he said is nothing happens in America by accident.
Nothing.
So if that information is truly that important, it ain't come to you by accident.
Right.
So whether or not if it's underground, above ground, advertisers know, advertisers don't know, it didn't happen. It wasn't an oh shit moment.
Oh no, not at all.
You see what I'm saying? So so that's why I'm like, I mean, it may be real, may not be real, but my question is too, if this is real.
But what I will say is, before you ask the question, in that book also states, after they admitted the time we're going to start seeing different things, might even have attacks and all of that, but none of those things will be real. That will be orchestrated by us.
Okay, so
this is what the book says. So these things that we will see in the near future will have nothing to do with the actual UFOs. It will be us doing it. The book says this. This is why this is one of the reads where you kind of gotta read it before you even question it. You gotta hear it.
That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
So just now, you kind of answered it, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. If it's real, bona fide real, and these things is flying and they're all right there, and what would you do if it came up to you and it said, "I created man"?
Well,
and it said, "I want you to serve me. I created you."
well, see, me and my belief is a little different because I believe it's going to happen a certain way, and I think it's going to happen in that order. So if somebody or something is talking directly to me, and you ain't see it, and you ain't see it, and you ain't see it, it ain't real, because we all going to see the Most High at one time.
Right.
So that's it. So if something came to me, he already ain't right. That's how I believe. So, did that answer your question? But just to say, you know, this is not just modern times that talked about these things. You can go back into any book that you study, whatever religious belief that you have, talks about this.
They talk about it.
So it's nothing new about this information. The only new thing is they're going to admit it now, and of course they have their agenda and the reason why they want to admit it. But all this is just a proof to the naysayers. That's all that's about. You know what I mean? So the point of the matter is, everything that you thought you couldn't believe, you know, and I always question people too who will say, you believe that it's other life forms and this, that, and the third, but yet you're gonna sit here and tell me about all these different angels you talked about in the Bible.
For sure.
You don't live next door to one.
Right.
He don't live in America. He don't live here. So, I mean, we call Mexicans and illegal immigrants and aliens and all of that. So I'm saying, if something is here talking to me and he's not from here, what is it? By definition.
He would be a fallen.
Okay. You understand what I'm saying? So let's just talk about not what it means to you, but what the word means itself. You know, not from here. And it don't necessarily have to be a person that looks like what they show you in horror movies. You understand what I'm saying? It can very well look just like you. And a lot of these books describe them as looking like us, or us looking like them, however you want to put it. You understand what I'm saying? But then, you know, if you study a little more, you read a little more, you start hearing that there's a few different races and species, or whatever you want to call them, that don't look like us. And you would see these things depicted in mostly the sci-fi movies, and you try to figure out, man, it's a great movie they wrote. You try to figure out what inspired it. Well, most of these old books and stuff that we sit here and talk about now is what gave them the inspiration. So if you ask me how I understood the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, I'm gonna tell you, may the force be with you. Because I see it the way they saw it. You know what I mean? It's just real. I'm fucking around, but it's real. You understand what I'm saying? It's you know, it's one of them things, sort of.
I'm perfect. Listen, I'm listening. Don't think I'm not listening. I'm listening so intently. But I gotta keep it 100, audience. You know, I know you guys get to watch the show, but it is nothing sexier than a man who knows what he's speaking of with a passion. And I just love sitting on this platform every single week.
And so something else you guys were saying, it says down here, it says, for 90 years the Nation of Islam was mocked and ridiculed for its teachings of the mother plane and its aim and purpose. Now the government admits these UFOs are real, vindicating with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan have warned of and prophesied. And just to give you an idea, the mothership they're talking about, it says the mothership is 1/2 mile by 1/2 mile. The dimensions of the aircraft is 1,092, thus 2 times 1,092 equals approximately 1 mile, or approximately equals 1/2 mile. So it's 1/2 mile wide by 1/2 mile long. This mothership we talking about.
I kind of like, just listening to you, I kind of have my own conspiracy theory, right? Now, I feel like every city kind of gives you your preference of how you view things. And with the Islamic culture in Philadelphia, I think is very different than other parts of the country, like totally different. Yeah. So with that being said, in regards to the design of the Islamic and following the Quran, the way it speaks, right? I think it kind of like is an oxymoron when you have these families that are relying on government assistance. When you are now kind of, that defeats the whole purpose of the religion, because we're supposed to be one God, one aim, one destiny. We're supposed to know that the design of it. You don't go and get you a second wife unless you can take care of both those hoes. You know what I'm saying? So, that's it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
You know what I'm saying now?
But in all reality, right? So we ain't just.
Real quick, I just want to say, when we don't go by the book, when we try to titrate our own ideologies and beliefs to something that is written, that's when we have all these different dynamics, and it's like, I'm not so sure anymore.
Yeah, it throws you off, shakes your faith. But I don't try to get into, like I said, I'm not Muslim or of no sort, but I listen to truth. It could come anywhere for me. So, but I try not to get into what this man might do and say that's what it is for the whole religion. You understand what I'm saying?
Can't be.
A lot of people say that, but I thought you was
Different
Muslim. How
types
do you
of
doing this in the
Muslims.
third? That's that individual.
Yeah.
That's not the way the religion was designed and set out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's what he's doing with it.
Listen, for me, you know, again, I respect all religions. I respect all people. People are people to me. I deal with character. You know, I think character speaks more so than
What you
your
call
religious
yourself,
beliefs.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with that being said, with religion, I feel like people, number one, they don't understand it. You know, in reading, it has to be a level of comprehension. And the way you comprehend something may be totally different than the way this being comprehended. So you have to have your own Bible for yourself. You should be governing your own self based on your own personal morals and beliefs in which you live by, which how you want to be remembered. You know what I mean? And I think with the religion piece, too many people are struggling with what to do, how to do it. You know, like
You're
for
not
example,
practicing. That's just it. You're claiming to be something. but you're
Exactly.
not
See,
practicing.
these things are a practice, and everybody's practicing. Even the people who was in it for 100 years. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as perfection, but you always strive for it anyway. So it's a practice for everybody. So you got a lot of people who call themselves something not even in the practice. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Listen, it's this song. I don't know if anybody has heard it. It's called No Gray. If you get an opportunity to listen to this song, No Gray, meaning like,
Who sings it?
it's Jonathan something. If you put it in, it's gonna pop right up. But his message is that I think it starts off like it's almost saying like I want to be, you know, live in God's words, but I want to stay cool too. Like it's a modern version where you can listen to the words and hear, you know, like we want to live for you, Lord, and
It's all about the conflicting spirit.
Exactly.
The human in the spirit. Like, I want to do
But
this,
he's
but at the
also-
same time I want to do that.
Yes, but then he's also telling you that, you know, you gotta stay true to you. You know what I mean? Like your blueprint is your blueprint. You know what I mean? Like you got people that go to church, but then they abuse their wives. You know what I mean? You have people that just have their own Bible.
Well, here's the thing that I learned, right? Everybody that's in the same people you got in the world is in the church. They in the mosque, they in everything. So, you know, like I said, they practicing. These people are practicing if they really practicing. That don't mean that they're not human. They still have the same desires, they still have the same shortcomings, but they understand that they have these things, and they in there supposedly, you know, working on these things.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. But see, this is my thing also with that. A true believer, regardless of whatever religion is, does not place judgment on anybody else. That's a real believer. When you believe with your whole heart. For example, to me, it's such an oxymoron when people gamble. I can't gamble because God says you don't gamble. God gonna see. I don't have to do that now. If I'm gonna play cards for fun or got this funny money, you know, that's something different. But you know, you
like
got
that.
people that go to church religiously but play the lottery every day. I ain't saying I have a problem because I don't judge anybody.
But you still dealing with the same people that's in the world. They in the same world, so they got the same temptations as you. But so I don't like that judgment. But at the same time, I hear some people who judge this way. They may say, "Well, hold on, you don't gamble, but you was just down doing shoes, doing this and other thing." But here's the thing. I feel like whatever it is that you feel like, even if you're not practicing, whatever it is that you're holding on to, don't give it up because somebody said, well, you do this too. It don't matter if I do that. So I'm supposed to just give away everything that I have and just go ahead and just be footloose and fancy free and say the heck with everything and don't hold on to nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Like I was in the church. You know, I went to church at a point in my life when I was about 18 years old, 19 years old. I think it was about 19. I decided to go to church, and I decided to study a little more on what I was understanding at home. So, you know, I was always taught that there was no such thing as Christmas and Santa Claus. These things weren't supposed to be, you know, celebrated or whatever. And you know, when I got, you know, became an adult and I started having my children, I was no longer in church and things like that, but I ain't stopped believing everything that was in the Bible. So just because I'm not going to church every day means I'm supposed to go ahead and go back on everything that I believe. No, some things you got to hold on to. That's who you are. I'm going to just say now, since I ain't in church, I might as well go out here and murder everybody. I might as well go be a thief. I might as well go ahead and do it all. No, you hold on to you need to hold on to.
So with that, are you saying that you still don't practice or you do practice? Because now you go to church.
No, certain things, just I'm not in church currently, but just because I'm not don't mean I'm gonna go against everything that I believe.
Okay.
No. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. I was asking for a certain reason. I was asking because
never stop. Never stop praying. Never stop praying.
Yeah, and because like for example, we grew up, we didn't celebrate Christmas and stuff like that.
I prayed before I went to church.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? So before I went to church and before I even knew to go to church, I was already a person.
You got a mind with God, so
you understand what I'm saying? So
that's you. So that's why everybody got their own thing. You can be evil and be a Christian.
Right.
Thank you. You are
Muslim.
the priests. What are they
True
doing?
followers of Islam are peaceful.
Yeah.
So it's just like here. It's
that is. I would say
And
that's
I don't want to quote it and try to quote it verbatim, but there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about God talks about you'd rather a person go pray in the closet than to be phony amongst other people. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not about how the congregation look at you. It's about you in connection with them. So you know what I mean? But like when I came up, I got in trouble. I got suspended from school. I was like maybe in kindergarten, first grade. I got suspended from school and I got put in the corner and all that because I said there was no Santa Claus. So I got in trouble for that. My dad had to come there and make a whole big thing. Like I don't teach my kids that. You understand what I'm saying? So it was a whole big thing in my house and my mom, my dad.
Yeah, I'm sure.
School, yeah.
So now with that being said, because not even about the children, I feel like I grew up the same way. We didn't celebrate Christmas. We did Kwanzaa every year, and we did Kwanzaa the way.
No European holidays were celebrated. No
Thanksgiving. Exactly.
No
we didn't. I didn't even know the Pledge of Allegiance until I left that 1 year.
I never did.
5th grade. I didn't know anything about.
People don't believe me when I tell them I don't know none of that shit. Like, I never known none of it. Like so.
So now, my point is moving all these years later because now I do consider myself to be a Christian. I do. Not that I celebrate Christmas, but I believe in, not believe in it, but if that's supposed to be the day that Christ was born, you understand? Like,
See, now but she's going to change the whole narrative of the show. Because listen,
you understand what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, but but if you're a Christian, you usually go by the Bible, and that's not in the Bible.
It's not there.
It's not in there.
So then, don't get me wrong. I still need to learn more about the Bible because I wasn't raised on it.
Yeah.
But
so
based
no
on
lies are the truth.
Okay.
So when you start making up stuff, you start adding, you're telling a lie, and that's why I wasn't allowed to, the whole.
So wait, no lies is the truth.
No lie is of the truth.
Okay.
No lie is of the truth.
Okay.
So you're not going to take God and then make up a lie, but since you put God on it, it's true now.
Got you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's true now, and I said God with it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that's what they're doing out
I got you.
yeah.
Same like step for law. Yes.
Yeah, you drop ice cream cone on the ground, you're gonna kiss it up to God. I mean, it's nasty. You know what I'm saying?
Either way.
Word don't work.
Oh my goodness. But no, we got some more.
So now let me ask you, because I'm curious. Now I want to be all up and get Kool-Aid. I know plenty about you, but like in regards to a religious. I know. You think he thinks I don't know? First and foremost, I didn't want to scare him, but I'm definitely truly one of God's angels. So I might see. I already saw his yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I already saw his tomorrow yesterday. Anyway.
Do I have religion?
Yes, like
no.
who?
No, I never.
I
never had.
So
religion.
do you consider yourself?
I'm spiritual.
Okay.
I'm a spiritual person, and I've had. I've had near-death experiences, quite a few in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I know that it's a higher power. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that when it's a bunch of people praying, it can really change something. Mm-hmm. So I do believe in things like that. But I don't like religion because it's like holidays to me in America. Everything is commercialized. Mm-hmm. I never, I remember when I went to high school, when I get to public school, that's high school. First time I went to public school was in high school. And I would see some of the coolest people, man. They just somehow get dragged into that. What's better, Islam or Christian? And it was worse than Apple and Android. Because Apple and Android is a religion.
I'm true. I'm a investigator.
Yeah, but Apple and Android, that's a joint. I mean, you can walk down the street, you got that nut ass Android. together.
Listen.
That's nothing
Matter of fact,
compared.
y'all write in and tell us what y'all like.
It is like every age group
Because
be doing
I
it.
need a new phone and I don't know which direction I should go.
So Apple and Android that's a religion, right?
Yeah.
But when I was young, I used to see people argue with the Christians and the Muslims, and that shit would get so crazy. I would be like, I don't know what they on, but I don't never want to be a part of that. Because when you really look at it and you look at the stories, some of the stories is like similar. It's almost like somebody grew up on 18th Street and 20th Street and they telling the damn same story. So it's like
The first part of the Bible and the Quran is the same exact story.
that's what I'm saying. So what, Chad, what's up?
And Torah. Yeah.
Damn, I just. Oh, well, with what you were saying with you growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
With both parties, they were both in violation. And under the new agreement, the New Testament, underneath the Messiah, take this speck before I try and get the speck of dust out of your eye. I gotta take care of my own eye. So I can't say you're wrong, knowing I'm wrong. You see what I'm saying? I can be like, hey, look, tighten up a bit, but I can't judge you on it. You know what I'm saying? I can let you know your imperfection, but that's it. And then if there was the Muslim brother I talked to, he said there's a story that says, to you be your way and to me be mine. So at the end of the day, both of them arguing or trying to force it on one another. It's it. Even the Messiah says, if you go unto people and they do not receive, if you go into the city and they do not receive you, walk out, shake the dust off, and keep it moving. At the end of the day, it'll be a lot worse than what happened for them than what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. So at the end of the day, they don't receive it, they don't receive you. Let it be on them. It is on their hands. But as long as you gave them the option, it's wrong to have the information and not present it. So if I see this and I say, hey guys, listen, here's the way. Now if you guys say, fuck that, no it's not, or I'll consider it, either way, whatever you do, it does not matter to me.
So if you ever say something and I say, well, hold on, here's a flaw in that, and you come back, are you wrong because you ain't got no minutes going back and forth?
If you want to say there's flaw.
Yeah, but that's probably normally how the conversation start when you got two different groups of anybody.
Right.
When they say that they're right, they're proving them right is showing you your flaw. That's in any argument.
But see, what is the intention they're coming with?
Oh yeah.
Are they coming? If they're coming already, you always
every person's intention is going to be different.
Listen.
So if you come into me and you say,
and most people is dealing with ego.
Yes.
Listen,
but somebody that's trying to help you grow.
It's almost like you can't even get away from it because I've seen some people. They gonna out food you. They gonna out humble you. They gonna outdo all of this. Even when they being righteous, it's ego involved in most cases when you're dealing with man.
That's why the Messiah had to come, because the Jew was living right. Their hearts were wrong. Like you said, they do it physically, but they don't do it.
It's not internal. Yeah.
That's why it's you so self-righteous. For what? If all of us have the truth of God, right? We know we could save the world, but what we know in this room right now, right? What good is it to us in this room?
And that's where we missing the message. You got all these different books saying the same thing, then why is nobody getting the message?
First off, because you have people like Jesuit priests and who were paid by the Vatican or whatever, they are teaching people a bastardized version of that book. Even though it says the same thing.
But we the human souls, right?
And our human souls can read. So
but not even about reading.
Because we read the same thing, but this person will paraphrase. He'll say, jump here, jump here, jump here, jump here, jump here. Knowing damn well you ain't going to do it because you ain't going to keep up. And then he's going to paraphrase and chain shit together that does not even go together. There are two different situations, total different things, but they are piecing shit together and then only preaching to you salvation but what is the Lord? God is a man of war. That's what he said. The Lord is about war. Like he don't give a fuck. For he makes great, he will make small. He does whatever the fuck he wants. And his people are not chumps. God, the Messiah, aka Jesus, was not this punk ass nigga going around. This nigga roll with thieves and killers. Ain't no punk ass nigga talking about save everybody. Gonna have thieves and killers rocking with him. He was a hard ass nigga, dog. Like he was not playing. That's why he walked in them places and cussed their asses out. He spoke with authority. Everybody was like, who is he? How can he talk like that? Because he got the authority. He can do it. He was not no punk ass nigga.
So now I'm talking like now that we.
Oh,
we
my
had,
bad.
no.
That's the version.
Okay.
That's what happened. They were there. So they're bastardizing it to promote, to keep a certain people docile. Because if these certain people stays docile, what will happen is this whole shit will get turned upside down. On a certain episode, Reef said, I don't understand why they go so hard to keep us here. And if you look outside, that's exactly why they go so hard to keep us here. Because the moment that we really truly love each other, love my brother like
that's
I love
my whole
myself,
point right there.
when we really do that, and so if I love
But how
you,
can you
like I
say
love
they
myself,
and then we in the same preface? Because why don't we know that? How come we know what feel good to
my
us?
people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. If you want to hide anything from a nigga, you put it in the book.
So
you
we
put
got
the nigga's
so.
history inside his own house.
So
and
what
you
I'm
won't
saying
read
is
it.
we've experienced it firsthand. We know what love feel like. Whether it's from your parent, whether it's from your dog, whether you know what that feeling feels like. So if we know and we've gotten all these messages from all these multiple sources that is our answer, that is our key, then tell me what the fuck is wrong with us as individuals that we don't love on one another harmoniously.
Because we don't believe in the law. We don't believe in the law of our fathers. We want to follow everybody and their mama. What we're doing right now, how we won't support black business, and how we'll support everybody. Hold on, that's the exact same thing that we are doing with our life. I will. So for majority of people, who are our color, they will go and patronize another nation before they patronize themselves. So the same thing, our same people would rather believe in another nation than believe in yourself. It's no different when we got pulled out of Egypt. What did they do? We set a golden calf in it, knowing damn well we just seen this shit just
I want to shed light on something a little bit, man. Something I've been bear witnessing to, and I'm even noticing it right now. You ever notice, right? Even you can get a whole group of conscious people together, and the first thing we do in the room is talk about what we need to do as black people and what we need to do and what we're not doing. We even talk about how our youth is kind of like messed up right now. They out here shooting and killing. All we do is hear negative stuff about us on the news. We hear negative stuff. In our conversations, we hear negative stuff. We gotta change the narrative. You have to give people their shout out. So I want to shout us out now. I want to change that narrative. I want to change that narrative because I think it's just like a child. You tell a child he ain't shit, you ain't gonna be shit. You talk bad to him, he gonna turn out like that. You could listen. This is a scientific fact. You could put two plants right here, and I could talk bad to a plant and talk good shit to the other plant. That other plant is going to die. Negative energy is real. So I'm saying all that to say is, if all we hear about ourselves is negative things, one after another, whether it's from us or the media, how are we gonna change the narrative? So I wanna give a shout out. I wanna go ahead and say the things that I've been seeing in the last couple years and compare them to how I've seen it since I was coming up. So one, I remember coming up, and me and my father used to go down to like places like Kelly Drive, whether it's to go ride bikes. We used to go to Lincoln Drive, ride bikes. We go all over the city. I mean, you know, Penn's Landing and all that, doing all the bike riding. We was like 10% of the city. When I say we was 10%, I'm talking about black people. And most of the blacks that was down there, the 10%, the crew my dad had with him, we might have been 8% of that. In the last couple years, I've been, going down Kelly Drive, and I noticed 2 years ago before COVID, we was at like maybe about 20%, 30%. These last 2 years, I'm down there back at these places, getting myself in order, and I'm noticing we almost had a 50% of us down here running, jogging. I'm talking about even when we talked about the last, on one of the other episodes, talking about food deserts and not eating right. I remember being like one of the other two people shopping at the supermarkets I shop at. I'm talking about going in Mom Organics. I'm talking about going in Whole Foods, going in Wegmans. I'm talking about going into rural supermarkets, being the true minority in these businesses.
That definitely has changed.
And now when I go in there, I'm noticing That's a day of the past. That's over. We are a bigger number. We are a bigger number in there.
This show must be hot this week.
Hold on. We are a bigger number in there than we have ever been. Even when you're talking about patronizing black businesses, I see a whole lot of that going on right now. Not only do I see a lot of patronizing of the black businesses, I'm saying a whole lot of new black businesses come up out the ground. So now whether they're gonna all be successful or not, I see way more attempts than I've ever seen. I seen way more attempts than I've ever seen in my years. And every time we get to this point in life, history has repeated itself some kind of way. They came with a monkey wrench. So I'm telling y'all, even though I'm shouting y'all out and I'm saying keep it up, let's keep our eyes open. Keep our eyes open.
So I want to say this, right, Mike? What year were you born?
82.
You ain't gotta say
That's cool.
about
82.
You was born in the 80s, right? 60 years, it's about, let's say 60 years, 1920s and whatnot. We had our own banks. We had our own society.
Absolutely.
We had our own communities. Everything we do for real, right here, right now, ain't shit.
Oh no,
we ain't doing better. We're not doing better.
No. You misquote. I know you want to speak on it. But you got it. I think you wanted to talk more than you was listening to me. Yeah, we was talking about how we speak negative to each other, and whenever you see negativity all the time, that's kind of
you all over this place.
Yeah. But that's why you're supposed to just been listening, bro.
That's why I was listening. I'm riding with you.
No. But the point wasn't one subject. I was pointing in every direction, in every area where I've seen change in us. And the whole point of me speaking was to acknowledge the change in these particular areas. So it wasn't a one area thing I was talking about. I was talking about a variety of things. So that ride that was going on was intentional.
And I love where you stopped at, because for me, it made the point of, see, we have been at that place, and just like he said, we've been
We're going.
We're
We're not there yet, but we're going. And I'm saying every time in history,
where are we going?
Every time in history when we might get, who knows? Who knows?
Right now, I feel like we're different. Right now, I feel like we've always been going in this circle, right? You know.
But I know we ain't gonna go nowhere whenever we trying to bump heads and be the smartest motherfuckers in the room and the more experienced motherfuckers. We ain't gonna ever get nowhere with that.
Number one,
we ain't gonna get past this front door.
You can't listen and be formulating your own next piece that you get ready to say, because that means
I put everything against the law.
No, I'm not talking about that.
I'm sorry.
I'm in general.
I thought y'all was talking to me. I'm sorry. I thought it was like a thing right there. I apologize, man.
Not just in general, like, you know how people are talking, it's like, if you, even in an argument, you trying to figure out what you about to say next to me, you haven't listened to me.
Right, and you already got an opinion on what I'm gonna say, and I ain't said it yet.
Yeah, but for me, in terms of, like, one of my students asked me this today, in terms of where we are, and to go back to your first comment now, where we are now is the fact that our dollar is now different. That's what's different now. Like, I don't even talk about 67, I'm talking about 21st century. Our dollar value means so much more, because now, when you talk about business, they're not looking at color. They're looking at if we are going to keep spending our money with them or not. That's why they just dropped us a couple of dollars here and there, because it's about business at the end of the day. Now, to go back, what I do like about the show is that for me, you know what I mean? I wasn't a person that was tied into current events. You understand what I'm saying? So it's giving me a broader perspective on what's going on, to able to appreciate more people being at the job, to appreciate, the fact that, regardless of how we got here, that now we are highlighting various cultures when we talk about food, where African American people or Caribbean women, they can now be proud and bring what they have to offer to the table. Now we got a seat at the table. You understand what I'm saying? We might have had several seats. We built the seats, right? But now we're at a place because of that. It's all about dollars and cents. Now, because that money is doing our talking for us, now everything is about position. Just like Reef said, we are at a point where right now, if you really look at what's going on and you pay attention and you read, you can be in a position to become whatever you want to be right now. You know what I mean? Even me, I'm not into social media. However, that don't mean that I negate the things that it has done for my black sisters and black men. I see and now, don't get me wrong. We got, the features that you can do, and all the other little extras you can add, but ain't but so much pump faking you 20 cars and you really got 10. But listen, 10 is 10 cars. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like we finally at a time where we can make moves.
Here's what I...
Especially if we stick together and work together.
Here's what I want to piggyback on that. Here's what I noticed. And the point that I was making when I said I want to give a shout out, just in case the people that's listening didn't understand it either.
You made your point.
No. I'm just saying, I just want to give an example of why we can't ever be in a situation where we're saying, you know, that wasn't shit. We had way more than that at one time. The point was to acknowledge the shift of the mindset. Mm-hmm. Acknowledging the shift in the mindset, not comparing us to where we used to be at. You understand what I'm saying? You can't do that. And when you start doing that, it'll almost say to make a motherfucker feel like, you know what? He right. We ain't never going away. I ain't even gonna try. Fuck eating right. Fuck working out. Fuck going to school. Fuck it all. I'm gonna just go ahead and keep doing what I've been doing because I can't compare to the people who came before me. You can't do that on no level. You can't do that with the youth.
I think that's different depending on the person.
Yeah, well, but you always have individuality with all this. So this was just a broad statement.
I'm saying some people that can be motivated by, hey, you doing great, keep doing great. And then there's some people who, if they're not told, hey, guess what, man? You bullshit.
This is not good enough.
You can do more. So
but what I'm saying is, start doing things that you don't even notice you're doing.
But the point that I was making was, and the reason why I said what I said,
we
always hear that we can do more. This ain't shit. We can do that. We tried that part already. That ain't working.
What I'm saying.
So what I wanted to say was, let's try something different. Let's start giving a shout out to the motherfuckers who are trying to change.
What I'm saying is that this is
because we're not doing that.
This is our 17th episode, and we go to the charts. Definitely keep that in there. So if you go down like the 10th episode, 12th episode, we talked about kids that was in black kids in Michigan taking the water samples, doing stuff. We have talked about positive.
That's what I said.
So what I'm saying is that we do highlight the positive shit, and we also.
But that wasn't talking about us.
We don't. I mean in general.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
So, and I'm saying that even on this platform we're talking, we will minimize some of the stuff that they're saying, but they try to make it seem like you go outside, you're gonna get shot in Philadelphia. There's plenty of times we've been on here saying, hey,
that's not what
I'm not getting shot.
Yeah.
Like almost it's like it's a narrative that is pushed on us sometimes. And then you have some people who are like, they got talent in them that they haven't unlocked. And sometimes you gotta be like a nagging ass. So even like with y'all, sometimes I call y'all a nag the shit out y'all. Hey, you got your topics. Hey yo, do better. Hey yo, you did 85 this week. I want to see 90. That's me. You know what I'm saying? You do great. Hey, guess what? You was doing a great job. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is that it's something. You know, you won't hear it all the time.
I think also you're the type of person though that can kind of gauge what will work for this person versus that person.
But what I'm saying is that there is some people, like even in basketball, you had some people, man, that they was good, but they were just like. They be like,
and it wasn't working.
Like they don't. No, they good, but they don't know how to go like that. Kobe.
But you understand what I'm saying. So as you use that as an example, like you said, it's kind of agreeing with what you're saying. Everybody don't take it the same. So if I called you and said, hey, do you got yours for the show? This and the third. You might take it different. You might hope I don't need nobody tell me this and the third. You might be one of the motherfuckers that need to be told, man, you doing good today. I like to see you doing good. Because the minute somebody tell you that ain't good enough, you wouldn't take it right. So no, really, that's proving your point. Everybody is different. But when you talking at a whole,
So if there's 100 people in there, it might be 50 that need to be like, guess what, man? Y'all motherfuckers doing great. I mean, even jobs when you the foreman, you got some people that you gotta be like.
Y'all proving his point of everybody's different. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I was saying. That's the point I was making with it. I mean, it's not even like a point. Fuck that shit. It's just like laws of science. You do have some people who need to hear, hey man, you doing good and do better.
But that's why you cannot judge the next person. That's why you gotta be
on the news, on most platforms, not ours. We always catering to the people
to the negative shit.
We always catering to the people who need to say, well, damn, you just step your game up. We ain't never acknowledging. Then I ain't talking about our platform. And I think we need to make that a habit and make that a experiment to see if that works. Because there's other way not
working. Let me tell you what it does work. And I'm not trying to highlight myself, but I have noticed a difference. What I just said in regards to our platform, I have told y'all numerous times, and I'm sure I've ringed it in the hole, and I truly apologize. But I have been teaching almost 20 years. This is my first year that I tell children I love them. I thought it was creepy before. But you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I say You know, and these are I'm talking about virtually. I haven't even had the pleasure of meeting some of these children, so I already know when you're in the building, you get hugs all day long. You understand what I'm saying? But even with the hugs, maybe because we had the what do you call it?
The bump, elbow bump shit.
No, maybe because we could touch. What is that called? I was close enough where I could physically be physical. You know, maybe that made it different. But when I tell you, I tell my kids I love them, and it's baffling to me because I never told them before. I'm telling parents that I love them, and they're telling me that. You understand what I'm saying? It feels different. Right. Yeah, I'm not saying like the show is responsible, but one of those key elements that I walk away with is that even just with our dynamic, just we complete strangers, but the love is just there. You know what I mean? I ain't told you I loved you, but I love you. You know what I mean? And I feel that so it feels genuine in my soul that I don't have to.
It make you feel fulfilled.
And it's like, no man, I'll say it 50 times. I don't even care because that's genuinely how I feel. And I'm not gonna even get personal, right? And I'm sure everybody can relate. Relationships, new relationships, you be like, you don't know what to say or do to the person. When I tell you, I told somebody I love them very soon, and I was shocked, but it felt so good. It felt so, and I ain't mean like, oh my God, I'm about to, you know, if I don't see you tomorrow, I'm going, you know, no, not that deep. But I'm just saying, like, how am I love my kids? And I don't love somebody that I'm possibly, you know, kissing on the ear or something. You understand what I'm saying to you? And it has been so refreshing. You know, yesterday somebody asked me about this guy here in regards to how we just keep bumping into each other every time he is putting something together. You know, and I really don't have an answer for it because it's baffling to me, especially considering it's not like we had each other's phone numbers. You know, even though he and I knew each other since age 2 years old, we have text messages, we have FaceTime, we have emails, you know what I mean? It would be nothing but law of attraction because how we were raised, our mindsets, we always vibe with one another. It was one thing to go to school with each other, but he and I was like push and pull every single day of the week, you know what I mean? So to see us in our mature adult years.
Latter years.
You know, again, it speaks to everything that you're saying, like that karmic energy, that positive energy. You know what I mean? And that's just something that just feels very, very, very good.
Now it's funny though. You'd be surprised. Like when you grow up, sometimes you're moving so fast. You gotta get money intelligence. You gotta get street intelligence. You gotta get work intelligence, and sometimes you skip emotional intelligence. I'm probably still suffering emotional intelligence, but I'm
gonna give you a hug.
Jeez, you want to hear your hug? They want your hug for episode 13. I don't need a hug. I have dealt with all my life things. That's what makes.
Everybody need a hug.
I don't need a hug.
Everybody need a hug every now and again. See, that's you don't gotta be.
It ain't even being that. It ain't even that. It ain't even that. Anyway.
See, he's changing.
No.
Yes.
Wow. Anyway, though.
Y'all go back and check the tapes.
Yeah,
he was not even, you know, it was like, it was a grandma hug.
No, I don't need no hug.
Hell no, I don't need no hug. I mean, I don't need it. Like, no. Emotional intelligence is something that sometimes a lot of us never got a chance to experience. And we don't even know how to act out emotional things. You know, sometimes when you're younger, you discipline the child, you tell the child, don't cry when you beat them. And that's the dumbest shit ever.
You always got that.
Yeah, exactly.
You always got that.
Beat a lot growing up.
And you always used to say it though. If you remember me, you'd be like, I can't cry. We're not supposed to cry. And you made me believe that. No, you made me believe that to the point where I did that with my kids, and I felt so horrible after I realized that because of you. Boo, boo.
So anyway, what I'm saying is that yes, that is some emotional. I can't use the word retarded. But that's the only thing I can tell you is like that's very low. That's low emotional intelligence. Like you're hurt, you are supposed to cry. God gave you tear ducts. They fill up. You let it out. You know what I mean? And not letting it out, it causes you to become a fucking animal. You know, so I think emotional intelligence is something that, you know, being on this show, talking freely, even back to my 30s. In my 30s when I started to realize how much I was lacking emotionally. So yes, being on here and talking is like a therapy to me sometimes. Like it's good to just come on here and talk freely. So sometimes, you know, some people don't want to give up certain things, but just being in here talking and feeling comfortable, you're going to give up more things about yourself, more things about your life. So some people like, we don't know nothing about y'all. Well, keep watching, because the more we're comfortable, we're going to give you more.
Yeah.
And then when we go back and watch, like, damn, you know what? I gave him that, and it wasn't that bad. You know, so maybe I will give him a little. You know, you got to know this thing coming with spoons, because like nobody wants to be the joke or the glutton or be made a meme come tomorrow. But we want to be as real as possible with y'all, because again, when you're done watching this, the goal is for you to talk to the people in your family and be like, hey, this is something I'm probably messing up. Or something I'm probably messing up.
I mean, mental health is a real thing, and you know, we talk about physical health and you know all these things, but a lot of us not taking care of our mental health, and that falls under that umbrella of mental health. When you're not able to be vulnerable, you're not able to be sensitive, you're not able to. These are things that you were given to be able to release this certain stress and things like that. So it's very much important to be able to talk and let it out. But the first thing is acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Acknowledgement of these things. So, you know, for you to sit there and say that, I mean, you came a long way in that area. But I mean, we've been talked about that before we even started this type of thing. So I already know where you were at before we, you know what I'm saying, got to this point. So that's a good thing.
Don't. So when people see me, they think like, what type of trick is he running? It's like, it's not a trick.
It's growth.
Not a trick. It's growth. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
And it's the part of growing is being mature, wise enough to let the bullshit go. You ain't got to take everything. Like, sometimes you keep the essentials, like you said about your beliefs. Some shit you kept.
It's core things.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Keep your core.
It's core
things.
things.
Gotta, like,
your core is what make you who you are.
Yes.
It give you your walk. It give you your morals. You know what I'm saying?
That foundation.
Your foundation.
That core.
That's right.
Before we go this week, I just want to make sure that I take the time also to shout out our behind the scenes crew, or our behind the camera crew. I'm very grateful and appreciative. When the person asked me yesterday about the show or something like that, you know, I mentioned him and we had a conversation, but I also made sure, people that popped in my mind were people that I grew relationships with that I didn't know, that various ages, various ethnicities, and I mean, I feel like we have lifetime relationships that I truly appreciate. Oh yeah.
Well, we're about to wrap it up, folks. Anybody got anything else before we wrap?
I can't wait to watch the show, y'all.
We can probably pick up on next week.
Okay. Well, stay tuned. We'll see you again a week from now. And always, like,
subscribe,
and share.
Again, just conversations, no interviews.
Peace.